Hey guys, buckle up because this is going to be a wild ride. So you know how everyone always talks about how family is supposed to have your back? Well, mine sure tried to break it instead. Let me paint you a picture. I'm 24, fresh out of college, working my butt off at my first real job at this marketing firm downtown. Not making bank, but I'm finally independent, you know? Living in my tiny studio apartment that costs more than my monthly Target runs, which is saying something. But hey, it's mine. My parents, on the other hand, have been living this weird fantasy life where they think they're the Kardashians, but on a McDonald's budget. So about 6 months ago, my mom calls me up all excited, talking about how they found this amazing cruise deal to Hawaii. Royal Caribbean, all-inclusive, the whole 9 yards. Cool. Good for them, right? Wrong. Next. Thing I know, my dad's on the phone talking about how I need to contribute to the family vacation. I'm thinking maybe they want me to chip in like $500 or something. Nope. These people straight up wanted me to take out a personal loan for $15,000. I kid you not, they had already picked out the Bank of America branch I should go to and everything. My mom even sent me links to appropriate vacation wear from Nordstrom. Like, woman, I shop at Ross when there's a sale. What are you smoking? The manipulation tactics were next level. They pulled out every guilt trip in the book. We sacrificed everything for you. Remember when we paid for your braces? You owe us for raising you. My personal favorite was when my dad said, "Real children take care of their parents." Sir, you're 52, not 82, and you just bought a new Harley last month. When I said no, things got ugly fast. They showed up at my apartment unannounced on a Saturday morning. I'm talking full ambush mode, complete with printed loan applications and my mom's crocodile tears. They literally cornered me in my own kitchen, blocking the door like some scene. Out of a Lifetime movie, I caved. I know, I'm an idiot. But when your own mother is sobbing about how she's never asked you for anything, lie, and your dad is giving you the death stare that used to terrify you as a kid, you do stupid things. They drove me to the bank that day, made me sit between them like I was 5 years old while I signed my financial life away. The loan officer kept asking if I was sure about this. Red flag central, right? But my parents were right there, all smiles and, "Our daughter is so generous, BS. I felt like I was watching myself from outside my body as I signed those papers. $15,000 at 18% interest. For a vacation I wasn't even going on. They left for their cruise 2 weeks later. Posted photos all over Facebook of them sipping Mai Tais and eating lobster while I was eating ramen for the 5th night in a row because my first loan payment had just hit. My mom even had the audacity to comment, "Wish you were here, sweetie," on a photo of them at a luau. Yeah, wish I could afford groceries, Linda. When they got back, I thought maybe they'd at least thank me. Nope, they acted like nothing happened. Actually, that's not true. They acted like they'd done me a favor by teaching me about financial responsibility. That's when something inside me just snapped. I started documenting everything. Every text, every email, every guilt-trippy voicemail. Downloaded all their vacation photos too, for evidence of where my money went. Then I found a lawyer through a coworker whose specialty was family financial disputes. Turns out, what my parents did could be considered financial coercion. The way lawyer was this badass woman named Patricia who drove a Tesla and wore power suits that probably cost more than my rent. She took one look at my evidence and said, "Oh, honey, we're gonna nail them to the wall." I think I fell a little bit in love with her right then and there. We filed the lawsuit 2 months after they got back. The papers were served to them on a Sunday afternoon. I wasn't there, but apparently my dad answered the door in his golf clothes and just stood there with his mouth open like a fish. My mom called me screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Something about betrayal and how could you do this to your own flesh and blood. I hung up on her. First time in my life. The best part? My extended family started taking sides. My Aunt Carol, Mom's sister, called me a spoiled brat on Facebook. My cousin Jake DM'd me saying he was proud of me because apparently my parents had pulled similar crap with him years ago, but he never had the guts to do anything about it. Family group chat exploded. It was like watching a reality TV show, except I was the star, and I didn't sign up for this. Hey everyone, sorry for the delay in updating. Things have been absolutely insane. So remember how I mentioned filing that lawsuit? Well, the court date was last month, and let me tell you, it was better than any episode of Judge Judy. First off, my parents hired this lawyer who looked like he graduated from law school last week. Kid showed up in a suit from Men's Warehouse that still had the tags on it. Meanwhile, Patricia rolled up looking like she was about to negotiate a corporate merger, not deal with my mess of a family. My parents' strategy was basically to paint me as an ungrateful daughter who was trying to destroy them financially. They brought photo albums. Photo albums like, "Look, Your Honor, here's little Sarah at Disney World when she was 7. We paid for that." The judge, this older black woman who clearly had seen some stuff, just looked at them over her glasses like they'd lost their minds. When it was our turn, Patricia systematically destroyed their entire argument. She had bank statements showing my dad's Harley purchase, their monthly spending at Whole Foods. Seriously, who spends $800 a month on groceries for 2 people? And the kicker, they'd taken 3 other vacations that year. 3. While I was struggling to make ends meet. The best moment was when Patricia asked my mom about the financial hardship they claimed they were under. My mom, wearing a Louis Vuitton purse, fake, but still, started talking about how they had to cancel their country club membership. The judge actually laughed, not like a chuckle, but a full-on, "Are you serious right now?" laugh. Long story short, I won. The judge ordered my parents to pay back the full loan amount plus my legal fees. She also threw in damages for emotional distress and financial coercion. The total came to about $22,000. You should have seen my dad's face. He went from red to purple to this weird gray color I didn't even know humans could turn. Outside the courthouse, my mom tried to approach me. She had this whole speech prepared about forgiveness and family. I just walked past her to Patricia's Tesla and didn't look back. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember my cousin Jake who DM'd me? Turns out he wasn't the only one my parents had screwed over. After news of the lawsuit got out, small town, gossip travels fast, I started getting messages from other relatives. My Uncle Pete, who they'd convinced to co-sign a car loan that they defaulted on. My grandma's sister Helen, who'd lent them $5,000 for a medical emergency that turned out to be a kitchen renovation. It was like opening Pandora's box. Everyone had a story. We created a group chat called Survivors of Linda and Bob. My parents' names. It sounds petty, but honestly, it was therapeutic. We shared stories, compared notes, and realized my parents had been running this con for years. That's when things got really ugly. See, in our state, there's something called pattern of fraud. If you can prove someone has systematically defrauded multiple people over time, it becomes a criminal matter, not just civil. Patricia was all over it. She started building a case with all the evidence from our group chat. My parents must have gotten wind of it because suddenly they went into damage control mode. I started getting flowers delivered to my apartment. Not just any flowers, expensive arrangements from that fancy place downtown. Cards with messages like, "We miss our baby girl and please come home." Then came the gift baskets. Harry and David. Go Diva, you name it. I donated everything to the local women's shelter. They tried showing up at my work. Security had to escort them out. They called my boss, trying to tell him I was having a mental health crisis and needed intervention. Thank God my boss is cool and had already heard the whole story. He actually banned them from the property. The Facebook posts were the worst. My mom started this whole campaign portraying herself as a heartbroken mother whose daughter had been brainwashed by lawyers and bitter relatives. She posted old photos of us with captions like, "Remember when we were a happy family?" Her friends ate it up. I had random church ladies from her congregation messaging me about honoring thy father and mother. Then came the letter from their new lawyer. A real lawyer this time, not the Men's Warehouse kid. They wanted to settle. They'd pay back the loan, drop everything, if I agreed to sign an NDA and basically pretend none of this ever happened. They also wanted me to make a public statement about how this was all a misunderstanding and that we'd reconciled. Patricia laughed so hard she nearly fell out of her chair. They want you to protect their reputation after what they did? She drafted a counteroffer that was basically a legal middle finger. We weren't settling. We were going full steam ahead with the criminal investigation. That's when I noticed the stalking. Yeah, it got that bad. I'd see my dad's truck parked across from my apartment at weird hours. My mom started showing up at my gym, my grocery store, even my favorite coffee shop. Always with that same desperate smile, trying to corner me into talking. I had to change my routine, start shopping at different stores, working out at home. My apartment building has security cameras, and we caught them trying to get into the building multiple times. They told the security guard they were worried. I was being held against my will by an abusive boyfriend. Plot twist. I'm single and living my best life. We added stalking to the list of charges. Last week, it all came to a head. I was at Target, my happy place, when I ran into my mom's best friend, Diane. She cornered me in the shampoo aisle and started this whole speech about forgiveness and how my mom cries every night. I'm standing there holding a bottle of Head and a shoulders, wondering if this is really my life now. That's when I snapped. Not like angry snapped, but clarity snapped. I realized I'd been letting them control the narrative, even while fighting back. So I did something they never expected. I went public. Full scorched earth. All right, guys, this is where things get absolutely wild. Remember how I mentioned going scorched earth? Well, I meant it. I created a TikTok. Yeah, your girl joined Gen Z and started telling my story in 60-second clips. The first video was simple. Just me, sitting in my car outside Target, after the Diane incident, talking about how my parents forced me to take out a loan for their vacation. Nothing dramatic, just facts. I posted it thinking maybe my friends would see it. I woke up the next morning to 100K views and climbing. The comment section was insane. People sharing their own stories about toxic parents, financial abuse, manipulation. But here's the kicker. People started recognizing my parents. Turns out they'd scammed other people in neighboring towns too. A lady commented that my mom had sold her a designer purse that turned out to be fake. Another person said my dad had done some contractor work for them and completely botched it, then threatened to sue when they complained. By day 3, I had news outlets reaching out. Local news wanted an interview. I said no at first, but Patricia convinced me that controlling the narrative meant speaking up. So I did a sit-down interview with our local ABC affiliate. Just me in my tiny apartment, showing the loan documents, the court papers, everything. My parents' response was to hire a PR firm. I'm not even kidding. These people who claimed they needed my money for a vacation suddenly had funds for crisis management. They released a statement about how this was a private family matter and that I was mentally unstable and being influenced by outside forces. That backfired spectacularly. The PR firm dropped them after 2 days when more people came forward with stories. The local news did a follow-up investigation. They found out my parents had filed for bankruptcy twice, had multiple judgments against them, and this is the best part, they were currently being sued by their HOA for unpaid dues. Remember that Facebook group my mom made? It turned against her. People started asking questions. If you're such a good mother, why did she have to sue you? Why won't you just pay her back? What kind of parents make their kid take out a loan? She tried deleting comments, then made the page private, then deleted it entirely. Meanwhile, the criminal investigation moved forward. More victims came forward. The prosecutor decided there was enough evidence for charges. Multiple counts of fraud, 1 count of extortion, the forced loan, and 2 counts of harassment, the stalking. The arrest happened on a Tuesday morning. I wasn't there, but my neighbor filmed it and sent it to me. My parents being let out in handcuffs while my mom screamed about her rights and my dad kept saying, "This is all a misunderstanding." They made bail the same day, of course, but the damage was done. Front page of our local paper, local couple arrested in multi-victim fraud scheme. That's when they really started spiraling. My dad showed up drunk at my apartment one night, banging on the door and crying. Actually crying. Talking about how he never meant for things to go this far, how they just wanted a nice vacation, how I'd destroyed their lives. I called the cops. He violated his bail conditions and spent the night in jail. My mom went a different route. She started a GoFundMe. Help us fight false allegations from our daughter. She raised $362, mostly from her church friends. GoFundMe shut it down after I reported it with evidence from the court case. The extended family completely fractured. Team Sarah versus Team Parents. Thanksgiving was canceled. Christmas was a disaster. My Aunt Carol, remember her, sent out invitations for a family healing circle. Nobody showed up except her and her cats. Then came the plea deal offer. The prosecutor was willing to give them probation and community service if they pled guilty to the fraud charges. But here's the catch. They'd have to admit guilt, publicly, in court, and pay restitution to all their victims, not just me. They refused. Their new lawyer, they're on their 3rd one now, convinced them they could win at trial. Patricia just shook her head when she heard. They're really going to make you testify against them, she said. They're that deep in denial. The trial date was set. Media coverage ramped up. My story went viral on Reddit. Hey, maybe you guys saw it? Someone made a YouTube video analyzing the narcissistic family dynamics of my situation. It got 2 million views. I became, temporarily, the internet's poster child for standing up to toxic parents. Local businesses started taking sides. The coffee shop where my mom used to hold her book club meetings banned her. The country club they'd dropped out of made a public statement distancing themselves. My dad's poker buddies stopped inviting him. They were becoming pariahs in their own community. That's when the letters started. Not from them. They were legally barred from contacting me directly. But from their friends, their pastor, random people who'd seen the news coverage. Some supportive, some definitely not. One lady sent me a Bible with highlighted passages about dishonoring parents. Someone else sent me a check for $100 with a note saying, "For your bravery." The craziest part? My parents still thought they could fix this. They gave an interview to a local blogger, trying to tell their side. It was delusional. They claimed I'd been brainwashed by social media, and that this was all a conspiracy to destroy them. They actually said, and I quote, "We just wanted to make memories as a family." Yeah, well, mission accomplished. Just not the memories they had in mind. Last week, jury selection began. My parents showed up looking like they were going to a funeral. My mom wore this conservative suit I'd never seen before, trying to look like a sweet, innocent grandmother. My dad had shaved his head, I guess to look more sympathetic. It was bizarre. But here's the thing that really got to me. As they walked past me in the courthouse, my mom mouthed, "Please, just that, please." For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered sitting in my apartment eating ramen while they posted pictures of their lobster dinners in Hawaii. The trial starts Monday. Patricia says it'll probably last a week, maybe 2. She's confident we'll win. The evidence is overwhelming. But winning isn't really the point anymore, is it? The damage is done. The family is broken. There's no going back to Sunday dinners and holiday gatherings. My therapist, yeah, I got one after all this, says I'm grieving. Not for the parents I lost, but for the parents I never really had. The ones who would have protected me instead of exploiting me. The ones who would have been proud of my independence instead of seeing it as a resource to tap. But you know what? I'm okay. Better than okay. I've got a promotion at work. Turns out standing up to manipulative parents translates well to dealing with difficult clients. I'm dating someone new who thinks it's badass that I sued my parents. I've got a whole chosen family of friends who've rallied around me. And the best part? I'm free. Free from the guilt trips, the manipulation, the constant anxiety of wondering what they'll ask for next. That's worth more than any cruise to Hawaii. Trial starts in 2 days. I'll update you all when it's over. Thanks for following along on this wild ride. Your support means more than you know. Oh, and if you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, document everything. Get a lawyer. Stand your ground. Family isn't a license to exploit you. Blood might be thicker than water, but it's not thicker than legal documentation. Stay strong, fam. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from the people who are supposed to love you most. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Final update, guys. We won. Complete victory on all counts. My parents got 2 years probation, 500 hours community service each, and have to pay back over 50K in restitution to all their victims. They also got a restraining order. They can't come within 500 feet of me. During victim impact statements, 12 people spoke. 12. My parents sat there looking smaller with each testimony. When it was my turn, I just talked about trust. How they broke it. How they chose a vacation over their daughter. My mom sobbed. My dad stared at his hands. After the verdict, they tried one last time. Waited outside the courthouse, calling my name. I just walked past with Patricia to her Tesla. Haven't seen them since. I'm moving next month. New job in a new city, fresh start. Sometimes you have to burn it all down to build something better. Thanks for being here through this journey. Remember, you deserve respect, even from family, especially from family. Peace out. Sarah's signing off.